Hello everyone, welcome to the video, and today we're going to be talking about the best dexterity build in Elden Ring. But before we begin the video, I would like to ask you guys to drop a like and a sub if you guys found this video helpful and you like the build. And another thing I wanted to talk about was if you guys have any build suggestions that you want to see. I will be taking the top comment, whichever one has the most likes, and probably making a build on that in the near future. So whatever you want to see, just make sure you comment down below, and I will pick the one with the most likes, like I said. So with that being said, let's get right into the video. So the first thing we always talk about is the equipment of the build. So on the main hand, and the main weapon of the build is the Hand of Malenia, and this weapon is an incredible dex weapon. You get this weapon by defeating Malenia, who is a very difficult boss fight, but once you get it, it is an incredible dex weapon and probably the best dex weapon in the game. And up next in our offhand, I just have my Sacred Seal. You could literally do any one. I just used this one because it was plus 24. And for the other one, we have a dagger with the Royal Knight's Resolve. You definitely need that for this build because it does a ton of damage. The reason you need this dagger with this Ash of War is because it greatly boosts the damage of your next attack. And I think it's actually bugged right now, so while you use your entire skill, it actually boosts all of it. And it works very well with the build as well because we have successive attack talismans. So, with that being said, we're going to talk about the fashion next, or the armor. We have the Mask of Confidence. I just have this because it looks nice with the armor I have. And then the Malakath armor, greaves, and gauntlets. And then for the first talisman, we have the Dragon Crest Great Shield talisman. I pretty much run this on every single build because it gives you a lot of extra physical damage negation. And then we have the Shard of Alexander, which greatly boosts the attack power of skills. Very good for the Hand of Malenia. And then we have the Winged Sword Insignia. This raises the attack power with successive attacks. And then we have the Millicent's Prothesis, which does the same thing but also boosts dexterity. And for the Wondrous Physic, we have the two tiers that actually boost your stamina and boost your stamina recovery. This build takes a lot of stamina, so it's nice to have that. However, there is actually a tier that boosts consecutive attacks. So if you want to get that one to do a little bit extra damage instead of the stamina sustain, it is going to be very good as well. And obviously then we have the Mick tier ashes because they are the best ashes in the entire game. So with that being said, we're going to now take a look at the stats. And for the stats, I am level 145. I have 50 vigor, 20 mind, 40 endurance, 16 strength, 55 dexterity, which is boosted, 14 intelligence, 25 faith, and 12 arcane. So the reason why I spec'd a little bit into faith and not arcane is because the Hand of Malenia actually doesn't scale at all with arcane, so it's actually a useless stat for the dex builds, and I like having faith because I was able to run these spells that I'm about to show you right here. So the three spells that I put on this build, just for a little bit extra damage, was Golden Vow. This gives you a 15% increase to your attack and defense for over 80 seconds. It's incredibly useful. And then I have the Great Heal. This is good for your Mimic Ash because he will actually cast it and heal you as well. So it gives you a lot more sustainability. And then we have Rotten Breath, which basically is the Scarlet Rot Breath, and you are able to do this before every boss fight. Give the boss a little bit of the rot, and you will be able to constantly be dealing damage to them. So overall, I've seen a lot of people doing dex builds and just straight up speccing like 80 points into dexterity, and honestly I think that that's kind of stupid because I'm definitely able to do a lot more damage than them with speccing just 25 points into faith. This is because, like I said, I get that Scarlet Rot damage, which literally does like 12k over the entire course of the boss fight. It's great passive damage, which works excellent because your summon will actually cast it as well. So a lot of times you won't even have to cast it yourself because your summon will literally give the boss rot itself. And then for the heal, like I said, it gives you more sustain, and the Golden Vow gives you 15% extra damage. And this is actually so incredible because 15% extra damage on top of all of your attacks is a lot more damage than you would be getting by just speccing 30 more points into dexterity alone. So I definitely believe that this is the way to go, is to get a nice dex build, but spec a little bit into faith just so you can get that extra damage. You don't have to, but I really believe that it makes you much stronger. So now we're going to talk about a little bit of the buffs and what you need to do before a boss fight or before a fight in general. So the main damage of this build actually comes from the Hand of Malenia L2 attack. With this attack, you basically jump into the air and hit like a million times in a row, so you just spam L2 the entire time. And before you do that, you want to make sure that you pop your Sacred Vow, and then you want to make sure that you pull out your dagger and use the Royal Knight's Resolve. And don't put your dagger away because it will actually take the buff away. So you want to keep the dagger in your offhand and pull your katana back out and then use it like that. So in one of these clips, I actually hit with my full combo, spamming L2. I was able to hit a giant for like 12,000 damage. That is incredible damage. That is probably some of the most damage you're going to be dealing in a dexterity build, hands down. I have yet to see anyone, even people that have posted builds on dexterity videos that are 20, 30, 40, 50 levels higher than me, not even be able to replicate my damage. So this build is actually incredible for damage. Now, there are a couple downsides, which I'm going to talk about right now, and that's the fact that you can get stunned directly out of the jump attack. So you want to be very careful of when you're doing it, and you just want to be aware of the range that it has, because it does have a decent amount of range, but not as much as you might think. So you want to cast it behind an enemy or after an enemy attacks. That way they won't be able to just smack you out of the animation. And once you're in the animation, you'll move around a little bit so you can dodge attacks pretty well. And it does incredible damage, especially when your Ash is doing it too, because you have two people doing it at once. And like I said, he puts the Scarlet Rat Breath on him. So as for the clips I'm showing you, I'm going to show you guys a couple times where the bosses were lower leveled and not that hard. But then also I'm going to pair it with an end game dragon fight that has well over 12,000 health and incredible resistances, so you guys can see that this is a no BS build. I'm not just killing enemies that are incredibly easy to kill in early game areas. I'm killing the hardest enemies with the highest health bars and the most resistances in late game areas to show you guys that this is the real deal. It really does the amount of damage that I say it does, and it is an incredible build. However, there are a couple things that you can alter about this build if you don't like the way it's being played out. If you find yourself to be too squishy, you can actually put on higher armor and take out one of the consecutive attack charms and put on the Great Jar's Arsenal for some heavier armor and a little bit more poise so you won't get staggered out of the animation as easily. You could also change your talisman up and put on the Godskin Cloth one. I forget the exact name of it, but basically it boosts your health for every single successive attack. So this works very well with this build. However, when I tested it, I didn't actually notice any results, but maybe I tested it wrong. Just let me know in the comments below if this actually does work with the Hand of Malenia, because that would be an excellent trade out if you want a little bit more survivability. But through my testing, I found that it did not work. However, like I said, it could have been wrong, so let me know. So that's pretty much it for today's video. If you guys like the build, make sure to drop a like. And like I said earlier in the video, I really encourage you guys to drop whatever build you want to see. I will make the best version of it, or the best version I can make of it, and I will post it. So that's pretty much it for today. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.